after recording last week's Friday little vlog video, I talked about just getting started and just telling people that you're going to do something and then cracking on and doing it, and that I had all these ideas rattling around in my head for books and projects and products and so on. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go and I'm going to get stuck into one of these. And actually since then, over the last 7 days, I've managed to crank out about 8,500 words of a book, which is going to be a short book, so it's actually almost finished. It's really just an insight into the 10 in 10, the 10 marathons, and the lessons that I've learned, so the 10 big lessons that have come from that. And not really just about running either, and nutrition and body conditioning. There's mentions of those things, and obviously that's a big part of it. But there are many transferable lessons as well, and that's what I try to focus on. And it was funny because I didn't really know what it was I was looking for when I started the 10 and 10. And in terms of answers, I knew there was something I wanted to find, but I didn't know what it was. And equally, when I'd finished, I still had no idea what it was. I knew I'd learned something significant, I just didn't know what it was. So I remember a few years ago, I read a book by a guy called Brian Tracy, a book called Eat That Frog, which is a really good productivity book. And the essence of the book is that first thing you do in the morning is eat a live frog, and you never have to do anything quite as bad as that again the whole day long. Obviously you don't actually have to eat a frog, but you do your biggest, baddest, ugliest task first of all, and then it's not sitting there staring at you for your to-do list for the rest of the day. But anyway, I then listened to a couple of other interviews and recordings with Brian Tracy, and one of the most significant things that he said, for me anyway, was think on paper. And what he meant by that was, if you're struggling to get ideas down, you're trying to get things out of your head, is to sit down with a pen and a piece of paper, or in my case a keyboard and a set of fingers, and write or type, and just let the words come out. And really it was only when I sat down to write, well, what was actually the Inner Circle publication. I send it out once a month to members of the Inner Circle. And I just thought, right, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write, and I'm just going to see what comes out. And lo and behold, as I was writing, it's like, all of a sudden, oh yeah, my goodness, there's that lesson as well. I took that from it, and I was having ideas faster than I could write, but they weren't happening when I was just thinking about it inside of my head. So I think that's really the essence of today's little video, is if you have things you need to work out, you need to figure out, you've got problems you need to get solutions for, or answers to questions, then think on paper. Just sit down and write. And it doesn't matter, it's not something you have to submit to anybody. You just start writing, and it's incredible how effective it is. I mean, some of the lessons that I did take away, just to kind of finish up on that, some of them are obvious, like the importance of preparation, the importance of the support team, the behind the scenes guys, like body conditioning, like nutrition, like sleep, like foam rolling, ice baths. All those things were really, really important for me. And that, again, kind of transcending the bounds of running and in sport, it's not just the main event you've got to think about. You've got to do all the admin, all the little stuff that supports the big stuff, and it allows things to keep on going. And then, so that was a fairly obvious one, but then some were a little bit more subtle. For example, not worrying about how much you've done compared to how much you think you should have done. And in general, the lesson I took from this was, what you've done is probably enough. And this is something that I've been aware of kind of in the back of my mind for a long time now, and I've, like I said, just done it naturally, automatically. But I've always believed that whatever I've been able to do, whatever I've done in the preparation for something, it gets me to the state that I get to the start line in, whether it's a race or a project or a presentation, giving a speech. Like, that's as much work as I've done. That's what I've got. Let's see what happens from here. But there's a tendency, I think, as human beings to think, oh, we could have done more. We could have done more of this. We could have done more of that. We could have slept better. We could have eaten better. We could have trained more. We could have done body conditioning exercises with running. We could have prepared a speech better. We could have spent more time doing X, Y, and Z. And there's all these other things that we could have done. But actually, what you've done is probably going to be enough. It's certainly going to be enough to give you the experience that you're about to have with whatever it is you're going to do. And for me, that was quite a powerful but subtle lesson, something that's been bobbling along inside of me for a long time, but I just hadn't ever been able to get it out and put it down on paper until I sat down and decided to think on paper. So there we go. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll check back in again very soon. Bye for now.